Sorry to keep you waiting. Complicated business. Complicated.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the next President of the United States of America. Love him or hate him, it's now November 9th, so it's time to start thinking about how this presidency might affect you. Unlike half the country, I'm not currently flight planning my way to Canada because I believe that the presidency won't really affect too much of our daily lives. But those of us in the aviation industry know that we live in a perilous and carefully constructed world that's just waiting to be perturbed. And I have aviation news from the 2016 election that I guarantee that you've never heard. Despite the role it plays in our country, aviation never seems to be a hot topic during election times. But perhaps 2016 is different. At least you'd hope that a billionaire owner of 4 aircraft and previously the owner of an airline would think differently. So far, his competitor Hillary Clinton has had a one-on-one correspondence with AOPA over her policies about general aviation, where she stated that she loves airplanes and intends to support GA however she can. Gary Johnson also has his private pilot's license. I even searched it to make sure it wasn't hearsay. You can see it right here. But for the last 500 days, all 3 candidates have been flying all over the United States and spending an exceedingly huge amount of time at airports. So hopefully they've had their eyes open. In fact, it's estimated that the candidates have spent more than 60% of their time airside in the last couple of months. There's a big difference, though, since Hillary has actually been leasing her Boeing 737 with a custom paint job, while Trump has shown commitment to the aviation industry for his entire career. We can't deny that his custom Boeing 757 is a real masterpiece, but in 1989, Trump also bought the dying Eastern Airlines shuttle, and he began to operate Trump Shuttle, Inc. The airline died 3 years later, but not before getting some good airtime, even on your favorites like Seinfeld.
Box for you.
There even used to be a procedure at West Palm Beach International Airport named the Ivanka 1 departure after his daughter, containing the fixes Donald Trump, Ivanka, Amanda, and, of course, you're fired. There's no doubt that Trump Enterprises was severely hurt by this airline blunder, but hopefully this won't taint his view of the airline industry in the years to come. Early indications are that the world's Open Skies campaign is already being hindered by the Trump presidency. Growing Asian markets mean that airlines like Delta are seeking partnerships with Asian airlines. This might become nearly impossible with Mr. Trump's international trade policy. But lest you think he was to blame, Bernie Sanders had the same ideas. This would most notably affect countries who signed on to Obama's Trans-Pacific Partnership, which include Australia, Japan, Mexico, New Zealand, and a few more. But all of this pales in comparison to what I think is the biggest change that Trump could make to the American aviation industry. Since Trump doesn't believe in global warming, he intends to withdraw from the Paris Agreement, which governs environmental standards for aviation, amongst other things. While we can't expect this to affect aircraft design and production in the long run, it would serve to boost aviation for the next few years, lowering avgas prices, and even giving us cheaper airline tickets. Don't get me wrong, though, these are hollow victories. Some of you may recall about 2 weeks ago when Mike Pence, Donald Trump's running mate's Boeing 737, crashed into the engineered materials arresting system at LaGuardia Airport. The NTSB is still investigating, but preliminary results point to a failure of the squat switch system, so the aircraft did not deploy spoilers, auto-braking, and reverse thrust immediately upon landing. But what if I told you there was another aviation debacle on Trump's side that you never heard about during this election? It was only recently discovered that Trump's other plane, a Cessna Citation X, was flying with its registration out of date for 2 months. The FAA's registration fee is a whole $5, which I'm sure really puts a dent in Trump's wallet. But the point is, I would never fly an unregistered airplane, so you'd like to think we hold our politicians to a higher standard. I hope you learned something new in this video about the 2016 presidential election and how it may affect aviation for you. Don't forget, every bill like GA revitalization and the medical reforms needs to pass across the desk of Donald J. Trump. Oh, and just as a fun fact, it costs Trump about $15,000 per flight hour to operate his Boeing 757, while the real prize of the election Air Force One, the Boeing 747 fleet, costs about $206,000 per flight hour to operate. Thanks for joining us today, guys. We'll catch you next time on The Friendly Skies.